And we're all, oh, it looks like we're live, so we can
Yes.
begin. Yeah, okay. The meeting of the Kailua Village Design Commission will come to order. The time is, we missed it by 1 minute. It's 2:31 p.m. And so commissioners, just like to remind you to keep your videos on during the meeting so we can make sure that we've got the quorum. And then if anyone has anyone else there with them in the room, please let everyone know. I have Kari Kimura is in the room next door here. And Palani just disappeared, and Palani sometimes has people behind that screen. Is that the case today?
Nope, I'm flying solo. It's just me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we're ready to go. Welcome, everyone. My name is Sean Roth. I'm the chairperson of the Kailua Village Design Commission. I'll go down our list of the commissioners who are on the call with us today. We have Arn Wurchek, Jasmine Kursat, Elena Kilkuski, Palani Greenwell, and that's it. Why? We're a small group for now. Commissioner's role is to provide an architectural and design review of the proposed projects, including landscaping and signage within the Kailua Village Special District. The Commission is an advisory body for sign permits. The Commission's recommendations are forwarded to the Public Works Director for action for architectural design review. The Commission's recommendations are forwarded to the Planning Director for action. Procedures of this minute are that Robert's Rules of Order will be used to conduct the meeting. Each commissioner wishing to speak should be recognized by the chairperson before speaking. Applicants and members of the public should be recognized by the chairperson when testifying or asking questions. Each application will be heard in the order listed on the agenda. Staff will introduce each project. Applicants will be asked to make a presentation or statement, which will be followed by questions from the commissioners. Public testimony will be taken, and I understand that the procedure is going to be slightly different from past meetings in that the public testimony will be taken as we address each agenda item. And then the commission, after discussion, will vote to make a recommendation for approval, denial, or deferral. Okay, the first item on the agenda for today is the approval of minutes. The minutes of the February 7th meeting. Those were distributed. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Okay, hearing no corrections and seeing no one raise their hand, the minutes are approved. The first item of new business is application PL KVD 2022-000026. The applicant, Rich Hendershot of Mauna Kea Signs, is requesting design review for a new wall sign, the HFS Federal Credit Union at the Conoco Shopping Center located at TMK 740150001. The project includes replacing an existing wall sign with a new wall sign with an area of 14.6 square feet and a letter height of 16 inches, logo height of 22 inches, with raised 1/2 inch acrylic lettering and mounted with all thread studs into the stucco. Colors for the sign include orange, red, and gray. The sign will not be illuminated. The applicant is Rich Hendershot, Mauna Kea Signs, landowner Leo Kalani Trust, TMK 740150001, located at 75-5588 Palani Drive, Suite 5 in Kailua, Kona. Will staff please give us an introduction to this application?
Thank you, Chair. It's Rosalind Newland. I'm going to get my PowerPoint open screen here. Yes. Hey, do you see that?
Yep.
Okay, great. So this is for the applicant Rick Hendershot of Mauna Kea Signs. There's the location. It's a Conoco Shopping Center at the corner of Kalani Road and Queen Kaumana Highway. There's an aerial image and a little blue scribble there is that I have kind of came out like a scribble. Let me get my pointer. It's right there. That's where their tenant space is in between the two end stores. There's their better description. There is their side plan and their suite 5 there in the middle. Towards the left, towards KT on the left side. Here's their sign exhibit. So they have showed 22-inch high logo and 16-inch high letters, maximum letters, and then the area of the sign is 14.6 square feet. And you'll see the colors of the orange, the gray, and the orange, red, and gray. Mhm. There's a bigger image of it. This was we sent out for comments to the Department of Public Works Building Division to see the comments whether it was compliant with a sign code or not, and or whatever the comments were rather. And the comments came back from Chris Domino, plans examiner, and he said the proposed sign exceeds allowable height and logos or letters per section. He meant to say 358C. It says 3-28C. And he says if you have any questions, please contact him. So 3-58C requires that the letters and logo be 9 inches high. This is the application for sign variance from the applicant, Rick Kandershot. He filled it out. It was part of the packet. He said he's replacing an existing sign, and in a few moments I'll be showing you the sign, the KVDC sign from an application from 2011 for the sign he's replacing. And he said he's rebranding the same 16-inch letter and 22-inch logo. And that the footprint will be less than half of the existing sign that's there. He provided a map, he provided a mailing list to Building Division. He said he's requesting the replacement of the existing sign. He says it's illuminated, and this one will not be illuminated. I'm just going through here, going through the high points. He said reducing the sign letter height to 9 inches based on county code would reduce the visibility to their members. And he said granting the variance would not constitute a special privilege inconsistent with the limitations upon other properties in the Kona Village Shopping Center. He said most of the other signs in the parallel tenant spaces at the shopping center are the same size or larger than their proposed sign. He would only like to replace their existing sign with the same height, lettering, and logo. So those are some of the statements that he made. This is the information that the applicant provided. He went back to the records and found the 2011 KVDC application for the credit union. This was the building sign permit application rather. It said the total area was 17.87 square feet. Here is the exhibit that shows originally they had the logo, hard to see on here. Let me see if I can. Originally, the logo was going to be 25 inches, 25.5 inches. And then they later reduced it to 22 inches. You'll see in a moment. And the letter height was, was 9 inches for the smaller letters and 16 inches for the taller letters. And this was the letter that the credit union wrote to one of our staff planners, Keola Childs, about reducing the logo height from 25.5 inches to 22 inches to be compliant with chapter 4. Oh, no, that was the chapter 14 is for the illuminated lights. Sorry. Reducing it to 22 inches to be compliant. And here's their exhibit where they showed the 22 inches for the logo height and the 16-inch maximum for the letter height, sorry. And that's the last slide. Any questions from the commissioners?
Thanks, Roz.
Yeah.
Commissioners, does anyone have any questions for Roz?
I do.
Okay. Thanks, Roz.
Yeah.
And so,
Hey, Sean, I have
Jasmine had a question.
yeah, sorry, Jasmine, go ahead.
Sorry. Do we know what the current variances are for the other sign holders that are in there?
Well, yes, there is a sign variance number 14. Look at that. It was approved in November of 1999. It allowed taller letters and larger sign areas, wall signs for the two end stores. For like what was now, what is KTA now still. And for Ross Store, they allowed much larger signs and sign letters. They allowed, let's see here. For Ross, for Ross Dress for Less when it was there, which still carries forward for the store, which is now, which was, I'm not sure if it still is, Pier 1 Airports. Might be something else by now. They allowed two roof signs of 32.15 square feet and 15-inch to 22-inch lettering in lieu of the 9-inch lettering. And for the KTA, there's another allowance. So I think it was similar. It was 12.5 to 32.15 square feet in lieu of the 27 square feet for roof signs. And then for the parallel stores, which I'm taking to understand that's the stores in between KTA and Ross Dress for Less, they were allowing 12-inch letters and 22 square foot signs. So it's not the easiest to read variance, but that is the variance that as long as I've been step plan that I've been applying. And so that's what we have to go with.
Okay, great.
And-
Thank you.
Thanks, Roz. And Roz, I think that when the commission reviewed all the renovations to the shopping center there, and I forget which year that was, but I know we had a review of all the, the new finishes and renovations, and
Right.
I'm pretty sure that these signs came up, and as part of that, they had sort of a general guideline for the tenants. I don't think it was like necessarily written as a variance, but I know that was discussed.
Right. In 2000, I do have the plan approval from 2018. They did a facade renovation. And well, I understand from the applicant who was here tonight. I don't know if he's in the audience tonight, but he said the tenants do have to take their signs also before the office to their building manager or their office who they lease a space from. So they not only have to, there's two different entities that they go before their signs, and there is the variance that does apply to that whole shopping center. And then other than that, there's a sign code. So there are those that apply.
Yeah, so they have to comply with the shopping center's rules as well.
Right,
as
the shopping centers rule. That's what I'm trying to spit out.
And I think that's what I remember having was presented at that time, where they talked about the shopping center also, have their guidelines. It's not that it was automatically approved, but
Right.
Consistent guideline for all the businesses. Yeah.
Right, yeah. They don't have a master sign permit, but they have a sign variance, and then like that's what I was trying to say. The shopping center has their requirements.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Roz.
Yeah, sure.
Does the applicant have anything that they would like to present?
No, not at this time.
Okay, that was Rick Hendershot. Thank you.
Yeah. Good afternoon to you all.
And then is there any public testimony regarding this project?
Only that my client is trying to just replace their existing lettering and logo with the same size that was evidently approved by your committee back in 2011. And we are making it much less, the width we're cutting down to half, and the square footage less than half of what it is right now. And then also being non-illuminated, that's helpful for the public, not to have that, all that light pollution. But yes, we just want to, put back the same size logo. There's other businesses there, Sally, that has 24-inch lettering. And there's another business in the parallel that has a 36-inch logo, which is how big the fascia is there. So I don't know what or who they went through, but yeah, they've been there a while.
Okay, thanks, Rick.
Yeah, thank you all. Appreciate your time.
Okay, so we're to the point where we get to discuss the project. And so I could start by saying, just, generally from the past reviews we've had here, this is very much consistent with, what we went through with the shopping center previously. And just from my experience down there, it's also very consistent with the other tenant signs. And the fact that they're basically scaling it back in size and illumination, for me, it's definitely recommend approval of, variance and the sign. Commissioners, any discussion? Anybody can unmute and say something? Jasmine? Okay.
So generally I wouldn't be in recommendation of supporting sign variance. However, I do think that, with the size that they presented, it's a good size. Whereas, KTA's at 32.5 and this one's at 22. So I think well, the other ones have 22. So I do think it's a good sign, and it's, it goes with the building.
Yeah, I think, when we had discussed this before, when they were doing the renovations, and I think the purpose of the original, some of those original variances was that because they're so far back from the street, that they had some cause to make them a little bigger. Yeah. Okay, well, would anyone care to make a motion regarding this application?
I'll move we approve as requested.
Yes, and I'll second that.
Okay, so we have Commissioner Werchek is moving to approve, and Commissioner Kurisat with a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay, no discussion on the motion. So let's go ahead and vote on this motion to approve this application as presented.
Thank you, Chair. We'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Krusat, second of the motion.
Aye.
Commissioner Greenwell,
I,
Commissioner Kilkuski,
Aye.
Commissioner Kern is excused. Commissioner Roth, we need your vote as the chair,
Oh, aye.
and Commissioner Werchek, maker of the motion.
Aye.
Oh, okay, so it's unanimous with those present.
Great. Okay, thank you. The motion is adopted. Okay,
Great.
so we'll move to the second item of new business. And that is application number PL KVD 2023000029. The applicant, 9 Brains Big Island 1 LLC, a Delaware LLC, DBA Pacific 19, is requesting design review for 3 new wall signs and 1 ground sign at an existing hotel in Kailua Village to be rebranded as Pacific 19 Hotel. The area of the ground sign is approximately 22.6 square feet and letter height is 31 inches tall. The wall signs range in area from 22.5, 35, and 46 square feet in size, and possibly larger depending on how the sign area is calculated, with a range of letter height from approximately 15 inches, 3.5 feet, and 4.5 feet tall. The ground sign will consist of black acrylic letters on a white acrylic background. On a rock wall sign, the wall sign will consist of black letters on a light colored exterior wall. The applicant is Nine Brains Island One LLC, DBA Pacific 19. Landowner is Monty Howe Properties LLC, TMK 75006016, located at 75-5646 Kuakini Highway in Kailua, Kona. Will staff please give us an introduction to this application?
Thank you, Chair. It's Rosalind again. Let me put the slideshow with the PowerPoint up here. Can you see that? Okay. Okay. Okay, so this is a rebranding of the Kona Seaside Hotel to Pacific
Roz,
19.
it's not on the screen
We're
yet.
not
Oh, it's
seeing,
not on screen? Oh,
no, not yet.
okay. What happened here? You see it now?
No,
Nope.
Okay, what did I do wrong? Let me see here. Did I forget to share screen? You see it?
There
Okay.
There we go.
There we
Now,
go.
Let me get to let me get to the slideshow. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Do you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. I went ahead of myself. I didn't read my notes. Okay, so Pacific 19 is the rebranding of the former Kona Seaside Hotel at the corner of Kuakini Highway and Palani Road. This is their conceptual site plan. I've got an aerial image. You'll see Kuakini up here in the right corner and Palani up here in the left, and that's you can see the purple, that's a boundary of the parcel on the aerial pictometry program we have. And there's their pool. Let me get the pointer. Oops. There we go. Well, you can see all that. There's their parking over here on off of Kuakini and the parking off of Palani. There's that triangle building, looks like. This is their exhibits of their 3 wall signs and a ground sign. I can make this bigger. There's Pacific 19 on the ground sign on the rock wall. And there's Pacific 19 on the near the top story. I believe it's a 6-story building, so that's near the top story. They're all the wall signs are near the top story. Okay. And the range of the letter height goes from about 15 inches on the ground sign to 3.5 feet to 4.5 feet roughly, because it had to be scaled on their plans, because they didn't actually have the letter height shown. I had enough information, see there it is, 3.5 feet was the overall height. There was enough information to see that, well, you'll see from the comments from the plans examiner from building that it exceeds the sign code limit of section 3-58C for Kailua Village for the core area for 9 inches for the letter height and for 12 square feet for the sign area. But anyways, there is the 3.5 feet, and further up there was 4.5 feet. Let's see where that was. Maybe not here. I saw it somewhere. I think it was this one up here. I think this one was 4.5 feet. Anyways, moving on. Here's the ground sign, the 31 inches height total for the Pacific 19, 42 inches height total. So the letter height is less than that. There's the wall sign. These were the comments from the plans examiner, Chris Domino from Building Division. For sign number 1, he said it is the applicant defined it as a monument sign, but it's not defined as that per chapter 3 in the sign code. It's defined as a ground sign, but that's kind of minor. So it'd be reviewed, not minor, but it would be reviewed as a ground sign. But still, the scaling of the letters are exceed that of section 358C requiring 9-inch tall letters maximum. Sign number 2, the plans examiner said he was unable to define the sign, the size of the proposed sign because the letter height of the sign is not specified. However, the maximum allowable area for the wall sign is 22 square feet for wall signs. And then he said the maximum height of the letter is 9 inches. And then he also said the maximum elevation is 9 feet above finished grade. So that's about 1 story. So they're at about 5 or 6 stories high on the wall signs. And then sign number 3, similar comments. The maximum letter height is 9 inches and it can only be 9 feet above finished grade for the wall sign. And then he made another comment, says due to the location of the sign and not having public street or vehicle access, the maximum allowable size of that sign would be 12 square feet. I believe that's because it's in the Kailua Village core area. That's the maximum size of a sign in Kailua Village core. And then he also said the applicant exceeds allowable number of signs for section 3-60. Oops. And then for sign number 4, similar comments, exceeding the maximum allowable number of signs, exceeding the letter height of 9 inches, and exceeding the elevation of more than 9 feet above finished grade. So in my comments, which I've learned that we'll leave those to building in the future, would be whether or not this applicant would want to apply for a sign variance. So this wasn't mentioned in the comments from the Department of Public Works Engineering, so I don't really want to get involved in that, making that comment, but that would be possibly an option if they want, if you exceed the sign code, just like if you exceed the zoning code, an option would be to possibly apply for a variance. In this case, a variance from chapter 3 sign code. So those were the comments from building division. So all these wall signs that are up near the top of the building all exceed the elevation for how high they are on the building. And then the ground sign, this one, I guess apparently the applicant had called a monument sign. It's actually the section of the code that applies to Kailua villages is considered a ground sign. But the letter height exceeds 9 inches. And the area of the sign can be up to, I don't know if you put that comment in there. I thought it could be up to 12 square feet, but it says it could be up to 22. Oh, it says it's at 22.5 square feet. It would be allowable at 22 square feet. Sorry, I had to remember what that was. I could remember its maximum size was 12 square feet or 22, but it could be 22. So they would just need to scale that down to 22 square feet and reduce the letter height to 9 inches. Or talk to the building divisions about whether they want to apply for a sign variance. So that's all I have for that. They did apply for a SMA determination for this rebranding of the hotel. And they got an SMA determination letter that I have over here somewhere. That they were exempt from development for the work they were doing to renovate the hotel, because most of it was interior. And the hotel was built in the 70s, around 1970, which was prior to the rules and regulations for the special management area and the shoreline area. But it was good that they wrote in because the planning department was able to review what they were doing and determine we still review for impacts within the SMA, and what they were doing was mostly replacing carpet and other flooring, painting and decorative wall, resurfacing vanities. Mostly it was interior to the rooms. There was no exterior work being done that would require plan approval or exterior renovations that required an additional KVC review at this time. Okay.
Well, thanks, Roz. Hey, Roz, can you go to the next slide after that one?
Yeah,
Yeah, that one there. And then if you zoom in on the top row and the pictures for the ground sign on the sort of to the right a little bit.
yeah, let me get back there, hold on. Yeah,
Yeah, so this is, I'm a little confused because here in this box here, and maybe this will be a question for the applicant, but there's a picture above the ground sign that looks like some type of wall sign. Do you know what
yeah,
that
I
is?
see that. I don't know what that is. I don't know how that relates to the ground sign.
Right,
I'm
that
not-
was an earlier sign that was proposed to be illuminated, and that's been removed. So I guess it just wasn't removed when the submittal was made.
Okay, so that's not an existing sign.
No, it is not.
Okay.
Kat,
and-
could you please identify yourself?
Sorry, I'm Catherine Luga. I'm a paralegal at Carl Smith Wall. And we represent the applicant, Nine Brains.
Thank you. So commissioners, does anyone have any questions for Roz? I'm not seeing anyone. Oh, Barn, go ahead.
How does this compare with existing signage?
You know, I meant to take the time to go by and take pictures. As I recall, Kona Seaside had the ground sign. And I wasn't sure if they had additional signs up high in their building or not. It seems to me they might.
I think they do.
I think they
Um,
do.
I just went on Google Maps on Street View and you can see that they do have a sign. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4 stories up. On that same, if you look at the Malka building exterior elevation right there, that says Pacific 19 on it. It's the second row in the first picture. Oh, and you can kind of see it there, maybe on the picture right next to it. Is that the existing? Or no? So go up a little bit, Ross, up to the second row. Yeah, so the second picture right there see that sort of black rectangle? Go back to slide 4. Yeah. So go up one picture from where you were. Yeah, right there. Where your magnifying glass is, see where the red text is, that looks like the existing sign.
Well, the applicant might be able to help us with that when we get to that part. Does anyone else have any other questions for Roz?
Yeah, I've got a quick one. How,
Go ahead, Bonnie.
what that chapter 3-58, how old is that rule? How, like, when was the last time chapter 3 was revised? Because it seems like every sign in the village is not compliant with those rules.
Chapter 3 was revised, I believe, in 2005.
Okay.
Switching it over from into the building division. They have been working in the backgrounds to kind of update it a little bit more. There have been slight updates. The variance, for instance, is no longer being processed by the county council, but by the DPW director. But there hasn't been a full-on update or revision to the sign code itself,
I
just
see.
certain processes.
So this must be fairly common then, the applying for a sign variance and granting of such.
For that brief, maybe 12-year span, there was not a large number of sign variances because the process itself needed to go through the county council for approval. So there was not a lot of applications for sign variances at that time.
I see. Yeah.
And,
Okay.
and there are many signs in Kailua Village that are not legal.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any questions for staff? Okay, not seeing anyone else raise their hand. Does the applicant have anything that they would like to share?
James, did you?
Hi, is it okay to introduce?
If you
Sure.
introduce yourself, yeah, please introduce yourself. I think one of the questions that, we have some questions about the existing signs, yeah.
Yeah, just make a quick introduction. My name's James Evans. I'm with Nine Brains, who's the manager of the Pacific 19 project. Catherine Luga, who already spoke, is with Carl Smith Ball, who's the counsel on the process. And we have Jeffrey Zimmerman, who's producing the signage, and Marina, our general manager at the project as well. In regards to what is existing, the rock wall, so that image 1 that you see previously had actually in the same location as what's proposed, and a little bit larger than actually what we've proposed for the updated sign. There was a Kona Seaside sign there. So, more or less, that's just replacing with a little bit smaller dimension from what was pre-existing. And as you observed on the primary facade in that category 2, there was on that 5th floor a Kona Seaside sign at the location of that dark box, which is kind of a wood panel that it previously was placed in. And as the application states, we're proposing to redo the facade there and replace it just with some acrylic lettering. I'll hand it over to Kat Luga to maybe speak to some of the details, but happy to answer any more contextual questions that you may have.
Right, so we did not file for the variance application because we did not receive DPW's comments on the specific sections under the sign code until the matter was already agendized. So we will be processing a variance application, a sign variance application, once the commission issues we're hoping for a generalized approval in concept, I guess, subject to, we're securing the variance application from the DPW director. And so if there are specific questions, Jeff Zimmerman, who prepared the sign diagrams, would be able to address those questions.
Yeah, and just for a quick reference, I think the height of the building is around 45 feet. So the 9-inch lettering would be from a practical standpoint unreadable. So that's part of the reason for the increased lettering size.
Okay, well, I'm here, Jeff Zimmerman. So we'll just go down the list. Sign number 1 is an not non-illuminated sign. So it's just a branding piece. And if I'm not mistaken, James, our proposed sign would go pretty much on the same location where the previous Kona Beachside sign was on that rock wall, about the same coverage, for sure. It's just that James has a designer created a brand and a feeling of all of these letters and all these signs in a very minimalist, very clean, lovely way. But it's not illuminated, and it's just simply the letters themselves. We just created a higher contrast background with black letters and a white background, or a white acrylic background that would just present very nicely, but it's pretty non-dramatic. Number 2, the letters on the 5th floor, or that might be on the 6th floor, James. How do you label that? Because there's a lower level that you really don't see on the grade. You call that the 6th floor.
Yeah, it's the 6th floor from
Right. Yeah.
But
yeah. I think I'm the fabricator. I didn't really create the designs. I'm working with the Nine Brains team to create and install these. I think the idea from James and his team was really to create a brand more so than adding signage to an existing building. So what what number 2 looks like. It says Pacific 19. That certainly is the building name. But the other portions of that presentation just adds those kind of map points, and there are other like GPS dimensions. This is just an artistic way of creating a brand for the village and for the visitors of the building. I think we were trying to stay away from just creating all new signs. We're just creating a physical brand or series of brand pieces that would just make the building a little bit more interesting from different elevations. Again, I don't, James, you mean, you tell me, I don't think I need to be making comments about the actual dimensions. These are designs and dimensions that Camillo, the designer, created from the start. But again, I think these things we tried to create it visible, not large or not a dramatic, because these things would be seen either on Palani or on the highway from pretty far away. So even though this is a 3.5 foot letter, you're going to see it from 400 yards away. And I think all we're attempting to do is identify what people are seeing. I don't really have any other comments at the moment, but I'm here for questions and answers as the fabricator.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, does anyone have any specific questions for the applicant? Arn, are you unmuting?
No,
No, okay. Okay, so, well, thank you, James, Catherine, Jeffrey. And so were there any submittals of public comments regarding this application? Roz or Deanne?
No, Chair, it's Ross. There was no comments.
Okay, thank you. So let's move on to discussion of this application. And I'll lead off with just the fact that the long list of comments that we have from Public Works as far as not having the actual size of the letters and maybe the big P19, maybe that's a logo. And then also the fact that it's clearly requires a variance, but there is no variance application. I don't think there's any way that we can recommend this to go through. And so for me, it's just a matter of, does this get deferred or just just rejected?
Well, I'm sorry, this is Catherine. We would request that it be deferred.
Okay,
Right, we were instructed to process this application request prior to filing the variance. So that's what we did. But we'd be more than happy to process the variance request now that we have the specific comments from DPW building.
Yeah.
And my understanding was that the variance would be approved by the DPW director and not necessarily the commission. And so, Roz, I'm not sure.
Yes, the process is for the variances are processed, signed variances are processed and approved of or denied by the Department of Public Works building or director.
But in this case, obviously the signs are all exceeding, and in the case of I know one is branding is important. We understand that, but Safeway, where the brand is very important and big and huge building, very far from the highway, and the design commission wouldn't let them go over 36 inches. So I think that just as the applicant's reassessing this, they should definitely take that into consideration, that very large signs are unlikely to get a positive recommendation. And that any, the variances should be very clearly articulated as to the reasons why it's necessary on this site. Okay. Commissioners, does anyone else have anything that they'd like to add to discussion? Commissioner Kurosawa, are you unmuting?
I will make,
Okay. All right.
just to keep the discussion rolling.
Okay.
I'm not offended by having the sign up by the 5th or 6th floor. I think that actually the proportions would look better. And if it were coming to us to consider a variance from the 9-foot height limitation, how far off the above grade a sign could be, I would be inclined into this particular building. It's a monster building, but it's already there and it's going to be there. I think it makes sense to have some identification that high up, as long as it's not otherwise offensive.
Any other discussion? Palani, are you unmuting?
Yeah, I unmuted.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with both you and Arn. I think the size of a sign sort of needs to be proportional to the size and distance from a building. So I don't really have an issue with the locations or the sizes so much. And I don't know what degree we are at liberty to make recommendations or not recommend things. But I gotta say, I don't care for the vibe or whatever that it puts out. And maybe it's because I went to Calcay High School and all of our buildings would look like prison buildings, and they were just
Number on it.
letters on the corners, but it just does not feel like Kona to me. And I think you might want to reconsider the font or make it a little more artistic. I mean, it just looks like something out of like a Detroit factory. And that's all I'll say, because I don't think it's any of our business really, but it just doesn't look like anything that has anything to do with Kona.
Commissioner Wercheck.
I think the disadvantage is the building doesn't look like Kona.
Yeah.
And they're stuck with the building. They can't do anything. They cannot do anything with the shape of the building. And so it's a challenge. I don't know how you integrate some older structures that were approved like that are so different from everything else in the village. So
yeah, that's true.
Dilemma they've got.
Some artwork or a mural or something.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
not just Arial font. But I look at Arial font all day on plans, and so maybe I'm just a little more over it than the average person. Anyway, I know a lot of the people that are involved in this, I should say that too, and they're probably gonna be calling me with some angry words, but I had to throw that 2 cents in there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think those are all fair comments.
Yeah. Commissioners, any other comments? Any other discussion? My overall point would be that, I would suggest that someone make a motion to defer this application until it can be completed in a way that we can actually make a decision on it. Because right now, there's missing information as far as letter heights and so on, and then there's no clear explanation of what's being asked as far as a variance. And so just, with what's presented, if we were forced to make a recommend or not recommend, we'd be forced to not recommend.
Well, I'll move that the project be returned to the proponents in order for them to prepare an application for variance and more specific information.
Okay, so we have a motion from Commissioner Wercheck to defer the application back until we can get sort of more information on it.
I'll second.
Okay, Commissioner Kurosawa, second. Is there any discussion on the motion? No. Let's vote. We're ready to vote.
I'm sorry, I was writing that down. Sorry.
Okay.
I was trying to rewrite the motion here. So the motion was from Commissioner Warcheck to return the application to the proponents and request more information and whether they're gonna seek a variance.
For them to prepare an application for variance and provide more detailed information.
Okay, and the second of the motion maker was Commissioner Cruzat.
Yep.
And we'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Cruzat,
Aye.
Commissioner Greenwell,
Aye.
Commissioner Kilkuski,
Aye.
Commissioner Flynn excused, Commissioner Chair Roth, you need your vote?
Aye.
And Commissioner Warcheck make the motion.
Aye.
And I'll just say the motion one more time to return the application to the applicant and proponent and return and provide prepare a variance application, provide more detailed information.
That's right.
Okay, thank
Okay. Thank you. So that the application is deferred. So we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is administrative matters. Are there any administrative matters?
Just an announcement to say that we have new commissioners being nominated by the mayor's office. We have 4 new appointments coming through. One is for our cultural committee member, and 3 are going to be for our business landowner members. So that will mean that Commissioner Warcheck and Commissioner Cruzat, when those applications do get confirmed, we are very sad to say that we're going to be saying goodbye for the moment. But thank you very much for, we'll still have you for maybe a meeting or 2, but thank you very much for all of your hard work and dedication for us. And then we have Palani coming back in to get he finished Riley Smith's term, which was less than a year. So he will be up for a complete 3-year term. So we have five appointments coming through. So
Okay.
That's it.
Very good. Thank you. And then, so are there any announcements? I think we know maybe that the next meeting is, I think it was on the email, right?
Yeah, the 21st.
21st.
Yes.
Okay, any further announcements? Anything?
Nope.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for showing up today so that we could get all this business done and keep things moving. So thank you all. And have a great afternoon. So since there's no further business, meeting is adjourned at 3:24 p.m. Nice job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.